Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. So I have your full moon in Pisces, the harvest moon forecast, and this is going to go in tandem with a autumnal equinox message. As we get closer to the full moon and equinox, I'm going to be at my retreat or getting ready for my retreat. So I figured I would post these now. I feel guided to separate them into divine masculine and divine feminine readings. So there'll be two posts, one for each. So, yeah, so it's actually September 1st now when I'm making this. And I've been receiving a lot of messages around the masculine. And one of the messages being that the divine masculine in the collective, whether you're a twin flame or not, just all masculine in the collective, coming out of amnesia, and things that were forgotten are now remembered. And this could be through the veil of illusion, through like from previous incarnations into this incarnation, things remembered from past lives, lessons, knowledge, wisdom coming through. Sorry, you guys, if you hear craziness in the background. My cats are crazy. They're crazy. They're crazy right now. It's early in the morning and they're like going nuts playing. So yeah, so the could be remembering those types of things from past lives. Could be like remembering their true soul purpose, their truth, the truth of their soul. Could be remembering like things that had been forgotten because their ego has denied these aspects in this lifetime, or has denied them from their true feelings. I feel like all of that truth from past lives, from the truth of, what they're here for, what their purpose is, as well as the truth of, who they love and what they really feel, that's all coming through right now. And it's coming through in a rush. They're saying it's like a surge, a rush. So by the time we reach this Pisces full moon, which is our harvest moon, we're going to be in the Pisces sign, in the water sign of Pisces, what's highlighted is intuition and love, emotions, and it's going to bring a lot of this, a big rush of this to the surface for the masculine, especially when it comes to what he wants to create, romanticizing his life a little bit, as well as the truth of who he loves, I feel, the truth of what he really wants to do and the direction he wants to take his life. And I feel like those emotional waters will be good for him to feel. It's going to make him vulnerable. It's going to make him more vulnerable, much softer. And with this would always be presented the shadow side, or the flip side, which would be that the masculine might have the tendency to run and mask. But I feel for most of the collective, there's going to be like a shining through that, a coming into the light and seeing the truth. And it's particularly related to love and relationships, the truth of their soul, their path, their life path. So those are a lot of the messages I've been getting, just in a channeled way. So we'll see what comes through the cards today, okay? I'm going to talk a little bit about the autumnal equinox, and then we'll get into the reading, okay? Just a couple reminders. So one is, you guys, I'm still doing readings and coaching sessions just on a limited schedule. So you can still book those. Please book on my website, spiritualmaterialgirl.com. If you guys want to support me or the channel, and my challenge with cancer, and you guys know I'm going to be ongoing fundraising, so you can always donate. All your donations are so appreciated, and there's a donate button at the top of my website. And what else? The new thing that I've added to my services, which I felt like would be a great addition, plus a great way for me to work with more of you in a more intimate setting, is group coaching. And this has been like a long time coming. I'm not just doing this because I have a limited schedule right now. I'm doing it because I see the power of when I hold these group calls and the exchange of stories. And so basically the way group coaching is going to work is not only will you learn from others and experience through their experiences, but you'll get the individual attention from me. We'll be able to facilitate a lot of like the soul coaching work. That's like the deeper level stuff, whether it's memory recall, you know, partial sort of regression and or energy work. It may be a variety of things. Could be intuitive guidance. But a lot of this is going to be centered around healing your wounds and helping you shift from fear to love. And over a 5-week period, so it's going to be like a 5-week program, once a week, and you'll be in a small group of 10 or less. And the cool part is as I pay individual attention to each of you as we navigate your waters and your journey and your circumstance, you'll also be able to hear the experiences of others and learn from that and exchange and grow from that, which is huge. I can't tell you how huge this is. I've just been an observer of this in my group calls, whether it be the free twin flame calls or group support calls or workshops. I just see it happen all the time. So I really believe that group coaching is a very, very effective way to heal. We'll make it quiet and safe and comfortable for you. Everything's confidential, of course, but it's totally up to you guys. Some people prefer to work one-on-one, but this could be a really cool way for some of you to heal and to learn from others in an intimate setting. So it's also more affordable than individual coaching. So it would be something that you could do over a longer period of time, get more out of it, I think, for some of you. So look into it. It's on the website. And I think that's it. So spiritualmaterialgirl.com if you guys want to check any of that out. So let's talk about autumnal equinox. You guys know I'm so geeked. I'm geeked for my retreat that's coming up just before the equinox. And I want to talk about the pagan celebration of Mabon. So Mabon is of the Welsh or Celtic mythology, and he is the child of light and the son of Earth Mother goddess Modron. Okay. This celebration of Mabon is when night and day are again of equal length. So that means night and day, the amount of hours of daylight, the amount of hours of darkness become perfectly in balance at this time before we enter into a time in which the darkness takes over, once we go into that phase and in which the outer world becomes darker, in which we go within ourselves. So at the autumnal equinox, we have equal length of day and night in perfect equilibrium. So it's representing dark and light, masculine and feminine energies, inner and outer, all in balance. Okay? So this is a transitional time, the time of year in which the light begins to wane and we start to go into the darkness. So it's a time of completion. It's a time to look at what we've accomplished this year, maybe what we haven't really looked back at, to assess, to take stock, to look at what we have accomplished, what we have brought to completion, what things still need to be completed, and then to begin to set the intentions for the winter months, for the darker months. It's an amazing time, and as I said in my most recent written forecast, it's really the most beauty is coming from a time of death and completion, right? It's like those beautiful fall colors up here in the northern hemisphere that change from green to like, it's like the fire of autumn, flaming reds and oranges and golds, and then we go right through this vibrant burst into this darkness, this death. And so it's the process of dying that is actually bringing about this vibrancy. And that's something that we really need to look at in our own cycles of completion, rebirth, and setting forth our new intentions for what we want to create over the winter, and looking back at what we have completed this year. Let's see what else I can tell you about this. So Mabon is also a celebration of a time of rest after the labor of harvest. In terms of life path, it is the moment of reaping what you have sown, time to look at the hopes and aspirations of Imbolc and Ostara and reflect on how they have manifested. So Imbolc and Ostara would have been, from the winter and the spring, solstice and equinox. And, it's time to complete some projects and clear out that which no longer serves, as well as prepare for the winter, which is a time of reflection and stillness and peace. It could be doing research, gathering information, working behind the scenes, planting new seeds. And during that time of darkness, you'll be preparing to plant those seeds for the spring. So the cornucopia is also a symbol of Mabon, and obviously that's the horn of plenty. We see this a lot around Thanksgiving. But it's a wonderful symbol for the wealth of the harvest, and it's beautifully balanced with both masculine and feminine symbolism. Okay, so I'll leave you with that about the autumnal equinox. I have a lot of messages coming through for the masculine with the timing of all of this, so we're going to use a few decks here. And let's just see what the cards say. Okay, so I'm shuffled now. So I think the way that we're going to pull this spread is around, so kind of what masculine needs to know at the full moon, the harvest moon, what he's working on completing, during the autumnal equinox. So what he's working on sort of at the full moon, challenges, struggles, things that he's working on internally or outwardly. And then we'll look at equinox. What does this symbolize for him? What does it symbolize about the year? About the year that what he's accomplished so far, where he wants to go in the next 4 months, what his work is over the winter. And then over here, we'll be looking at sort of the long term, what this means for the long term. So as he plants new seeds, what is this? It's not really like outcome, but what is he wanting to manifest? What is manifesting in his life? Okay. So we'll look at it like that. Okay. So the first card is Starseed. And then we have 9 of Crystals. And the 6 of Cups. Okay. So I feel like at the full moon in Pisces, he's really coming into the awareness of what it is he's here to do. And that's what I was telling you guys. So he might have the epiphany that he is a starseed, or if you are masculine watching this, you might be already in the know of that you are a starseed, that you are here implanted on Earth in this incarnation to raise the vibration of the planet, to bring your special gifts to this Earth. I feel like this will be a time of really, for the masculine, tapping into his intuitive abilities. From right now, from the beginning of September right through to that harvest moon, I feel the masculine's intuition ramping up and heightening. And at the time of the full moon and during the full moon energy, because it's Piscean, there'll be such a heightened sense of intuition for him, such a heightened telepathy. And I feel like synchronicities will push him in certain directions, and telepathies and dreams, and he's really going to know that he's a twin flame or a starseed. He's really going to come into the knowing of this, I feel. He's also going to begin to question his purpose, is what they're saying. And I think his purpose in terms of the much bigger picture, not like the mundane tasks, not the what he's supposed to do, or the societal expectations, or his day-to-day obligations, not the mundane tasks, but really a much bigger, zoomed out, it seems like, picture or glimpse of what he's here to do, as connected to the earth, as connected to his purpose in the universe. We also might be getting that the masculine is connected to outer worldly things, like he might be feeling pulled to certain planets or star systems, alien races, information that pertains to that. I feel that coming forth for some of the masculine, his knowledge of where he's come from, other planets, other lifetimes. Like I was saying at the beginning of the video, a lot of this illumination is coming forth that is going to lift him out of amnesia. So anything that's been forgotten is going to be illuminated and remembered. Okay? So I feel like there's a coming into the know of and a mastery of his intuition and his purpose. So during autumnal equinox, we see 9 of crystals, and I feel like this is really great for the masculine, because this is really showing him that whatever he's realizing, he can, not only has he brought a lot of it into fruition, but he can keep going and keep feeding and nurturing his own fulfillment. And this does not seem like fulfillment. This is not feeding. It's not filling an empty cup with wine, is what they're saying, or beer, or drugs, or prescription drugs. It's not filling the empty cup with that. It's filling the empty cup. So at the shadow side of the Piscean energy is that the masculine, like I said, could go into masking, could go into addictive behaviors, pleasure-seeking behaviors. That's a huge Piscean sort of trait in the shadow aspect. But I feel it bringing him into the light, and through that, he's filling his cup with purity, with water, with effervescence, with like this sparkling clarity, much more purity. And it's helping him create what he wants and have the confidence to create what he wants. And it's through that fulfillment that the abundance comes. And I feel like at autumnal equinox, he's really going to be thinking about abundance in terms of connection to his fellow, tribe members. I feel like autumnal equinox will be a time of gathering for many, whether it's purposeful, like, oh, let's go to the retreat, or let's go to this autumnal equinox ceremony, or if it's just kind of by default, like around that time, there's going to be a lot of gathering of soul family together. From then through, I think, Thanksgiving, there's going to be a lot of like pull to go to workshops, classes, group settings, group meetings. That's probably why I'm setting up my group coaching, right? Like kind of unknowingly timing it with this. So, and it's through that connection that the abundance is crystallizing in physical form. And I think he has a great ability to not only fill his cup with clarity, but to then reap the rewards of that. And I feel like the masculine up until this point this year has been receiving glimmers of this. And there are some things he's feeling proud of. Like, wow, I saved that money. Wow, I wow, I am making that transition. Or he's also equating monetary success, monetary like abundance to something different now. Like, whereas before he would look at the measure of his success only by monetary circumstance. And now they're saying he's looking at success in a much broader way. And it's through connection that more abundance is going to come. So connecting with like-minded people, connecting in with soul tribe, soul family. That's how some opportunities open for him around that time. And that's going to set up quite a bit of physical manifestation in the months to follow, September through December, I feel, for him. So, sort of what this is in terms of manifestation, in terms of where he's headed and what this will mean for the future. We have Six of Cups. So with the Six of Cups, I feel like he's walking the path and he's getting closer to that fulfillment. And he is recognizing how the pieces of his shadow, especially the pieces from his past, I feel like this is connected to his relationship with his mother, in particular for some of the masculine on the planet. His relationship with the feminine in general, and how that was maybe corrupted or broken, how his faith in the feminine, in his own feminine energy, it could be that it was not nurtured within himself. It could be that those aspects were shut down within himself. It could be that he saw corruption, maybe a mother who he didn't trust or who cheated, or it could be, a role model that he felt he didn't receive unconditional love from. But they're definitely talking about a renewed faith in the feminine, and that's both from within himself, that's giving himself permission to nurture his feminine qualities. That means coming into his healership abilities, coming into his psychic abilities, coming into his creative gifts, allowing himself to do that. Maybe he grew up in a family in childhood, in which that was shunned, in which that was ridiculed, or maybe he was told he would be a sissy or a wuss, or maybe he was told that was something that girls do and that he couldn't do that. Those denied aspects are coming forth, and I feel like they're coming forth for him to integrate. There's a lot of healing, I feel, through his childhood, through these child aspects that are going to be coming into play right through the winter of 2020. He'll be integrating all of this in a big way, a lot of the masculine. And it's not like deep shadow behind the scenes dark night work. It doesn't feel like that. It feels like a lot of the masculine have already been through or going through the dark night. And by that point, as we turn the corner into the new year, I feel like he'll be working on a physical manifestation of some of this, what he wants to create, the new connection, the new abundance, this awareness that he's a starseed, that there's a bigger purpose, that he's here to shed light. But in all of this, he's dually, or at the same time, in tandem, synchronistically, working this angle of integrating his shadow. And I feel like new epiphanies, new memories, new things come up on a weekly basis for him from now forward. It's the childhood is coming forth a lot through this like illumination of the past, this amnesia being lifted. And remember I said it's the amnesia. Everything's being remembered for the masculine at this time. Everything is being remembered. Let's get some clarity on these messages. So clarify our cards. Okay, talents. Dependency. Oh, very interesting. Feminine. Oh my gosh, wow. Can you guys even believe it? Can you believe? I can't believe how that just got all so validated. So with the Starseed, I said, remember, he's remembering who he is, what he came here to do, what his true gifts are, his intuitive abilities, his connection to other worlds, his, what he's here to do in terms of shedding light on this earth and what he's meant to do in respect to fellow man and humanity and how he's here to uplift. And they're saying, he's remembering his talents, and they're saying you're on the right path. It might be scary for him, and maybe this is in reverse because it's scary for him to remember this, to remember how gifted he is, and to validate his true worth, his true value, to say, oh, well, that job that was supporting my family, that seemed to validate me in society, is not my true worth, but my psychic abilities and my true talents and my true gifts are. And so I feel him following that more and more. He's coming out of that amnesia in which that was forgotten, in which the societal programming took over, in which he made decisions in his physical life because of his wounding or the way he was programmed. And this is where he's getting on the true path. And I love that. And remember I said, it's like the cup is not being filled with wine or beer or drugs any longer. It's like the cup is being filled with purity, clarity. That's how they were showing it to me. And that's what's enabling him to make these physical connections. But on the shadow side of this is this dependency. It could be this between that Pisces full moon and the fall equinox. It could be these habits of addictive behaviors, right? Attachment, toxicities, things that he's still needing to shed, but I feel him shedding it. I really do. And I feel like these are old default settings. These are the aspects that have kept him stuck in patterns of dependency, masking, that have kept the amnesia, in place. I feel him emerging out of this though, and into a time of greater expansion, greater abundance, greater connection. I feel like a lot of these behaviors, the addictive behaviors, the toxic cycles, kept him behind closed doors, kept him stuck in patterns, kept him really stuck. So this is breaking free of that and creating that expansion in his truth. And again, it feels like clear liquid into a cup. I can't explain it any other way. And this is exactly what I was talking about here, which is remembering the feminine aspects of himself that were forgotten, and or how he looks or relates to the feminine in the world. And this is about reclaiming and integrating those aspects. So it's a beautiful confirmation of those messages. All right, let's pull a few more. Slide these up here. Whoop. Cards are falling out. So for for this pull, we're going to pull for sort of like the love angle of the masculine's life. So when it comes to the divine feminine, his beloved, the special person in his life, the one who he's thinking of, the one who may be in the back of his mind, we're going to pull for around the time of the full moon in Pisces. What's the truth that's coming up for him? What is he romanticizing? What is he thinking about in aspects of love? At the autumnal equinox, what is he trying to balance in love and relationships? And beyond that, what he's looking to create in that sector. Okay, I'm going to push this back just a little bit just so you guys can see. Okay. Okay, so we have the King of Wands. And Zoe's chiming in. Do you guys hear a little cry in the background? What is it, Zoe? And the Six of Crystals. And the Ace of Crystals. Okay. So at the time of the full moon in Pisces, we have the King of Wands. And I feel like this symbolizes his ability to step into his own authority, how he's relating to other people in the collective, you know, stepping out, leading a bit, connecting, really stepping into his manhood in a new way, and a much more, I have goosebumps. Like, I feel like he's going to connect with other people who are also psychic, who are also starseeds. He's really exuding an enthusiasm for this and a vitality that he hasn't exuded before, because he's more in his truth, more in the knowing of his right path, more in the knowing of his gifts. And through the law of attraction, he's pulling in the right connections. He's getting a boost of confidence from this. And I feel like it's making him really, really strong. So he's letting go of the types of connections that have brought him down or have made him not feel good or in his own authority. And this is not an authority that's bossy, manipulative, or forceful. This is an authority of like, wow, I can do this. Wow, look at the law of attraction. Wow, look at what I'm conjuring. It's a strength, it's a confidence, it's a vitality. I feel like it's his enthusiasm that's attracting all this great stuff into him. And he's going to see this more and more and more as he steps into the comfort of the truth of his soul and his true gifts. And that's going to feel like the most comfortable place for him. Whereas I think before, that was feeling like the most uncomfortable place for him, right? So it's really, really poignant and interesting. At the time of the autumnal equinox, we have the Six of Crystals. And with this card, I feel like he's really taking stock of, you know, how far he's come and also what he really wants. And this is creating, like, this again is about abundance and where he wants to move towards in that sector of his life. It's about growth. It's about expansion. It's about, you know, job well done and what's next. What else are we going to create? It's ability for him to crystallize things in a more truthful, authentic way. And I believe he's looking at the time of harvest, at the time of the equinox, how far I've come. You see, she's looking back, but also still walking forward. And yeah, this is a beautiful message here. And the Ace of Crystals is just saying, like, whatever it is you want to create in the next phase, looking at what you've accomplished, how far you've come, how far you've evolved, and what you've done to grow. And then I feel like it's using the feminine aspects to create new opportunities. When we see the Ace of Crystals, you know, it's like, this is an opportunity just to set forth a new venture, a new business, a new idea, to create this in the physical, to take a gamble, to take a risk. But also I think that it's really no risk at all, because it's rooted in an integration, in an authenticity that's now becoming real in the physical. So this feels like another shot at life is what they're saying to me. It's like another shot at life, another shot at, it's not too late. It's not too late in the game. Some of the masculine are feeling that way. They're feeling like, oh, it's late in the game. How could I change now? This is saying, this is enterprising. This is entrepreneurial. These are the words I'm getting. This is a venture. It could be an idea. This is something he's setting forth into the physical, right into like January of 2020. This is coming into crystallization. January, February, March. And some of that he's setting forth the work for around the autumnal equinox, and will be crystallizing early in 2020, like in the first quarter of 2020. Okay? Clarifiers on this? So we asked about all of this in relation to love, and I feel like what came up is still around, I feel like our answers around the love aspects, and we'll see what the clarifiers say, but are still around his establishment in the physical. Like that the love, the ability to come into his truth and love and how he connects to others is no longer centrally focused around one purpose. It's around finding his fulfillment in the physical. It's around living his truth in the physical. It's around establishing himself on the truest path. That's how I feel like the love relationships will open up. So let's just kind of question that a little bit and see what they provide in terms of clarity. So there's purging going on. That's enabling him to clear and release what no longer serves him, so he can walk forward in his truth and in his authority. This could be hurts of the past. It's also, you know, shifting out of those paradigms of programming and programmed patterns, beliefs, and now it's ego. It's shedding the ego identity. That's setting him forth in his truth. And as he creates this new venture, this new idea, there's a new stream of independence that's coming in. See, this is all freeing him from cyclical patterns in love as well, I feel like, in which there is ego masking, right? The dependency, the ego masking, the keeping him from his truth and from the establishment of what he really wants to create. And you know, this needing to release what no longer serves in order to come into his truth and his true purpose. And then integrating his feminine aspects to create independence, this new path, this new venture, this new physical reality in which he's completely self-sufficient, not reliant on the paycheck, the job, the man, the another person. It's sovereignty. And it's through that sovereignty that he'll be ready to pair up with his true beloved, with his life partner, or make a recommitment for some of you who are already coupled. Maybe it'll be like a recommitment or a renewal that comes through this masculine coming into his truth and coming into his individuated expansion, like really on his own, in his sovereignty, in his own authority, in his truth, shedding the false masculine template, shedding the ego, shedding the old paradigms, leaving them behind. Let's see, what else do we want to do? Let's pull some moon cards for this reading. Whoops, whoopsies, we fell. Sorry, guys. Lost the camera for a second. Maybe we have a better angle now. Okay. Oh my gosh, these cards are flying out. Okay, here's one. And this just popped out too, which is so perfect. Okay. So, aren't these cards great? This is a new deck. Look at it. It's like holographic. Okay, so we have the waning gibbous moon, which is about reflection. So this is, he is reflecting, I feel like, and this is actually not that we're at a waning gibbous moon, but you can see the similarity here, right, between these moons. This is where he's been reflecting, is going to be reflecting, and that the full moon purges and releases some of the things that that are no longer serving him. And in this reflection, I feel like it's a time of being really truthful with himself, which truth comes through, in which memories, like I said, the forgotten, the aspects of self that were denied really come through. It's a transformational time, this time of reflection. And it's going to help him create anew and step forth with some fire energy, right? It's like the gearing up. It's the releasing. It's the letting go of things that don't serve or have held him back. For the time of the autumnal equinox, we have Sagittarius coming in, the explorer. So this is a time for him to explore the fire in his belly as connected to his passions. And I feel like this feeling of exploration and fire, this will come to fruition. A lot of this will come to fruition. This is laying his work that will be harvested, or that he will be working on or acting on the passions with in December, around that Sagittarius, full moon. That's where he'll be from the time of the autumnal equinox through the Sagittarius full moon in December. There'll be a lot of realization of his passions, igniting, taking action, igniting those passions, exploring who he is, exploring the truth of his soul, taking trips, taking classes, taking risks, connecting with the fire in his belly, I feel. And it's no longer, like I said, that he has to get that adrenaline rush or get that that feeling of fulfillment from outside of himself. This is all connected to his tummy, his belly, what's inside his heart, what's inside the fire in his belly, okay, is what I'm receiving. And here we got the sage moon, which is purify. So this is a purification that he's going through. This is where he's coming into, like I said, sovereignty, independence. But remember I said there's a purification in the cup. there's this new beginning, this sovereignty, this independence, this self-sufficiency, this new venture, this new thing. It's coming as a result of purifying his life, his intentions. It's starting from zero. It's getting rid of the clutter, the toxicities, anything that's clouded his life or his vision. And it's having like a very clear and true vision. And then with this came lunar eclipse sovereignty. And I feel like by the time of the eclipses in December and January, he's really going to have cleared everything out, got on his true path, and be working towards this. Again, we're seeing sovereignty twice here. There's no coincidence that this like mistakenly popped out as an additional card, right? Just like flipped out of the deck, sovereignty again. So that purification is completely and absolutely necessary for him to create the independence, the sovereignty that he wants to create in his life. So there's purging and releasing, reflecting, purging, releasing, connecting to his passions, letting go of the masking so that he can connect into the passions, and then setting up the new. This is about integrating the feminine, purifying what no longer works, getting rid of the stuff that's clouded his vision, whether that be ideas, notions, beliefs, or actual people, and coming into his own freedom and sovereignty and creating that freedom in his own life. So I still feel like we have questions around love. I feel like it's going... Girls, my girls are fighting. My little baby girl, Stella and Zoe. Girls, calm down now. So I feel like these are going a little bit unanswered because we're supposed to probe a little further. I'm still curious about how this all plays into like the love aspect of his life. I feel as though we're receiving the answers. So here's the Strength card just popped out. Move this back a little bit so you guys can see. So the Strength card just popped out. We have the Ace of Cups. And Knight of Wands. Let's clarify these. Whoops. Choice. Shadow. And Cycle. Okay. One just flipped out. You guys see? It just like flipped right where it wanted to be. Okay. So we have the Strength card, which again, I feel like is the masculine coming into his own authority. This is the masculine side of his personality balancing out, where he's shedding the old paradigms, the false masculine templates. He's learning how to make decisions in accordance with his highest good, in accordance with his truth. And I feel like in those decisions, he's leaving behind what no longer serves. And that could be a karmic relationship. It could be things that people that have kept him out of his truth. This could be work relationships that have kept him out of his truth. But it's all giving way to, this is the waxing gibbous, which we saw the waiting gibbous before. And up here, so it's reflection. And this is saying like manifestation. So I feel like there is a choice to be made. And as he comes into his own authority, his own truth in a different way, like saying, no, this is what I want. He's taking a stand for what he wants in love, in work, in all aspects of his life. And then he's able to manifest. So this is saying like the manifestation is coming through this truth. And this could be, for some, it could be at the full moon in September, but I feel like for many this is like at the full moon he's realizing this, he's making a choice, and then several months down the line he is manifesting the truth of his soul. So we have the Ace of Cups. This is about at the equinox he's really thinking about what he wants, and I feel these two people coming together. I do feel that. I feel like he's thinking about partnership. And again, we have the cup. That's exactly the symbolism that I showed you before. And he's no longer filling the cup with toxicity, addictive behaviors, alcohol, drugs. He's not filling it up with the masking. He's letting go of the ego. He's exploring what he wants, his passions. And it's showing him this is the truth of his soul. This is love. This is partnership. This is abundance. This is home. This is family. This is what he wants. He wants that new emotional beginning, and he wants the partnership that's more in line with his soul. He does want that. Again, we have the shadow coming in. There's a duality here with all this Nine of Crystals, Six of Crystals, the Ace of Cups. We've got the dependency, the ego, the shadow. There's a duality here. There's something offsetting this. There's a contrast that's birthing these new desires. But there's also this lurking sort of shadow, this temptation. This temptation to go back. Zoe. Sorry, you guys, hold on one second. Zoe, don't do that, honey. Curious little kitties. Curious kitties that are being mischievous, right? This is my little Zoe's being tempted. So there's a temptation here to go back into the pain or the trauma, the old cycles. But I do feel like the new desires, excuse me, you guys. Throat chakra, maybe he's having trouble speaking his new desires. This is where the truth of his soul is maybe coming forth. And maybe he's denied asking for his truth. And that's why I'm getting all of this muck in my throat chakra at the moment. But I feel like this fear, this pain, this trauma is being released so that he can have this happy ending, a new beginning, which leads to a happy ending. This new beginning that he's dreaming about, that he's setting into motion, has a very happy, fulfilled ending. He's manifesting the Ten of Cups from this energy right here. And the moon card is boundaries. It's the waning crescent. And I feel like he's needing to say no to some things in order to welcome in the things that he really wants. And this is where that choice is coming into play. He's needing to say, no, I don't want that. No, I can't do that anymore. I only have room for this. I only want to walk towards this. And that's going to be a huge stand that he's taking in his life. Huge. This is also boundaries within himself, I get. This is resisting the temptation, the going back, getting pulled back into the shadow, back into the... It's really saying, no, I'm going to set healthy boundaries within myself too. Okay? And then we have the Knight of Wands in reverse. With cycle and this card that popped over, which is flower moon blooming. So again, I was talking about a lot of this stuff blooming into fruition come the spring, come early first quarter, second quarter of 2020. So that makes a lot of sense. This is about repetition, phases, cycles, and this almost looks like that flower, which is interesting. So I feel like, again, planting the seeds over the winter, manifesting. But this feels like breaking the patterns, the karmic cycles that weren't working. Feels like releasing karmic relationships of all sorts, and then working on boundaries and what the true desires are, and having the resources. I feel like the masculine has the resources. This card is signifying that he may doubt that he does, but he's able to bring in the manifestation of the love, of the fulfillment. He's got what he needs. The magic's in his hands. He may be doubting this, but they're reassuring you, masculine, that the magic is in your hands, that you have what you need to create the abundance, the fulfillment. And I think that in love, the message is you are enough. You are enough. It doesn't all have to be fully established for you to bloom in love or have the love manifestation come to fruition. You have enough. You are enough is the reminder. Okay? So I'm going to leave you guys with those messages. I hope that that's helpful for you, and I'll see you back here at some point in September for updates on energies and so on and so forth. But I wanted to give you this reading for the masculine. I'll be back with a feminine reading, and I'll see you guys soon. Love you guys. Mwah. Bye.